All right, so this is my adapter that we've built, and I took the transfer case, the tail shaft, the part that would have bolted to the tail shaft to the 4L60 transmission, and cut off the end that would have bolted to the transfer case from whatever this came out of. It was the wrong transfer case, and I adapted this transfer case, the Borg Warner unit that I'm using. I just cut that face plate off of it, and we added a 3/8 thick, something like that, plate aluminum, and I shaped it and had a buddy of mine weld it together for me. So what I'm going to do now, and these welds are pretty, some of them are ugly because of the porosity of the casting. We ran into some issues there where it would just didn't want to burn. But I'm going to blend it all in and smooth it all out and make it look like a one-piece deal, so you can't see all all the welds. It was a tough piece to weld, that's for sure. This stuff is very porous, and it'd have been nice if it was all new, clean metal, but you got to do what you got to do. But it's together and it's very solid, and I have no doubt in my mind it's going to work. I've already test fitted in place, and I had everything bolted together, so I know it works. I just wanted to get it welded up and solid, and that's one other hurdle I needed to jump to get the drivetrain complete. So now I know this is positively located. I can start measuring even for drive shafts, and start worrying about that and get my drive shaft angle right. The front's not a big deal because it's fixed, but the rear, obviously it pivots because that's what rear ends do. Anyway, I'm just going to work on grinding this out. It's going to be a boring and tedious process. It's going to take me forever because my bit keeps clogging up with this aluminum. But I've got die grinders and cut off wheels and anything that I'm going to use anything I can to get it cleaned up, and whatever works best, I'll stick with it. But I've got an arsenal of tools, and we'll get started on it, and hopefully it'll come out. Hopefully it'll come out nice. I'm hoping something like this, where I blended, and I've got to kind of carve out for the bolts to go in. I'm going to see about body working it, just to clean it up and keep it pretty. Transmission and all that'll be good too. So make it all match and make it all painted and nice and pretty. So we'll get to it. All right, let's get some grinding going on here and see what we can do. was working with the deburring tool and it just clogged it up, which I still got to do because I've got a clearance for the bolt holes that go this way. But I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not sure if I can use body filler on this or maybe like a compound that the kind that you fold together and kind of like a JB Weld type. But I may look for some that's got an aluminum base and see if there's anything like that I can use to kind of get this transition better. But I'm pretty happy with it already. It's for a custom transfer case adapter. It's hard to complain. Almost done here. Let's get this ground down and I may move on. I picked up a couple of these curved discs from Amazon. They're kind of expensive, about 15 bucks a piece. So I only got a couple, and I'll try to get in here and kind of get this worked. I may leave it this way and come back and fill the spots that aren't quite there, but I want to work on this flange too. I'm gonna get something flat. Once I file it, then I'll get some sandpaper and rub over it and get it nice and trued up. So we'll keep that flange nice. We're not there yet, so let's keep. Yeah, it's really about as close as I can get with the flat disc. I don't know if I can get a carbide bit. It's a little finer, but I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to grind it, and I keep saying it. I'm going to try to fill it some and go from there. More grinding. Let's see what we can do with this guy. Alright, see if I can clearance around these bolts. A little bit more room there. I may go through and just touch each of these bolts too and trim it a little bit here. It's getting close to where the edge of the weld is, and I don't want to break through because it's kind of sealed off, and I want to keep it that way. That's the whole point. We'll see if we can get close to it. That was not too bad up there. This one's going to be one I'm going to leave the weld because I'm getting really close to the edge of it. I'm going to take probably take, you can see that where the original bolt lays. I'm probably going to just go in here and take a little bit out of there, and I'll ground that bolt down and get that built-on washer off of it. And it's going to be tight, but it should still be all right. Let's get on that real quick. Thing surprisingly gets pretty warm pretty quick. Aluminum transferring that heat fast. All right. Hello. Got that on a foot control, so it's a little squirrely. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Get that ear off of there, and all right, I'm pretty stoked about that. A big part that was holding up the drivetrain. So obviously you can't build it without it. I needed the adapter, so custom made. Drop it in the sandblaster and blast it. Just see what it looks like after that. I'll probably come back around and file and clean it up more, and just shape it a little bit better. But right now I'm pretty happy about that. So we'll get it sandblasted, and we'll see what we come up with after that. Just kind of get us some of these bird spots. All right, I am pretty happy with that. You can barely tell where it was welded. It's just a little bit lighter color, but it blended in really nicely. Still a few little bad spots, but really happy with it. And it's going to work good. Nice and pretty. Still got a little bit of cleanup left to do, but I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I think it's going to work great. So we'll get it back installed on the transmission and transfer case. We'll get all that bolted back together, and I'll modify that one bolt that I've got to get the shoulder off of here. And we'll get this back together and just double check and make sure everything works great. Right. Transfer case, adapter, transmission. And I got all the bolts. Went ahead and sandblasted those two just because why not. Still got a little cleanup to do on the transfer case. And I'm going to deburr and grind and clean all the transmission up too. It'll all be nice and pretty. But for now, just going to mock it up. Now in order to get this adapter to work, I did have to chop just a little bit off the tail shaft of the transmission. And not a whole lot. Still engages fine. I'm not really worried about it. I've already had this adapter on before I had it welded, and I'm hoping it didn't seem to wobble on the table. And I was hoping to make sure it didn't put it in the grinder and work on it a little bit. Nice and easy. And it goes right in. I'm going to have to take the limit off of there too. Take a little bit more for that. Quite enough on there. Nice. I figured that would give it a good round off on that shoulder, but it kind of seemed to go oblong on it. Let's see what I did wrong here. Awesome. It's hooked up. I can spin that transfer case for free. There's no binding that I can feel. Output shaft spinning. I don't hear any odd noises. I'm gonna call that a W. It's awesome. Yeah, big hurdle jump right there. That's cool. The transfer case, we'll call that adapter done. Next thing I'm going to do when I pull the engine out, I'm going to move right along and let's see, pull the engine transmission and we'll get the car smoothed up and slicked up and start working on making it pretty. I'm happy about that. That's cool. Still gotta get a transmission cooler. I got the lines out of the scrapyard not too long ago. I may mount the cooler up in here maybe somewhere and duct some air to it and maybe put a fan on it. We don't really have any spot for it in the front of the car, so it's going to be kind of tough. We'll make sure this transmission stays cool, so you don't want to burn them up. But short of some tires and wheels, got most of the parts and pieces. Tires, wheels, gauges, and air conditioning is the rest of the big stuff I got to buy and put it all in the car and get it mounted. But we'll get from there and we'll keep trucking. So I did remember one thing. Forgot about the fact that this transmission, because it had a transfer case on it, it had a pretty large, I guess a support bar from here, bolted here to the bell housing. Now I don't have the room for that in the car, so my plan of attack is to use, this is the cross member that we built to hold transmission the tail end up here. I'm going to bolt that in place. Goes up like that. I'll put the rubber trans mount and all that in there, but I'm gonna bolt that in place. And since this is bolted to the car, what I figured is I can make a bracket off the side of here and somehow mount it to here. Or it's gonna be really tight though, but I need some sort of way to support this right here. I don't have anywhere to bolt to the back, and let's see. It's going to be really tight to do that. I don't know if it needs a rubber isolator on it, because the bar itself didn't. It just went from here all the way to the tail end of the bell housing, straight across. It was just a solid bar. So I'm wondering if I can get away with just mounting a bar here and um, bolting it to both pieces just so it. Mm-hmm. Decisions. I'm gonna get this transmission mount on, and let's get this transmission cross member bolted in, and let's get a better look at what we've got. Not really a lot of room to play with there. Yeah, I also got to worry about how I can get my hand in there and run the bolts in, because it's really snug through here to the floor. I do not know. You could also go from those are threaded holes. I wonder if I go from here and make some sort of a bracket from there. I want to do something because it felt like it was. If they put it there, factory, it probably is needed. I wonder if I make even make one from, like I said, from here to here, kind of flow in, just something to keep it from, keep the twist, the torque at bay best I can. I guess I need to put the transmission and all this back in the car, because I do have another crossmember that comes across the top. It kind of comes over here and flows over that way. So I may have room in here. We'll go from there and see. Might be something I have to put together outside the car. Obviously, put all this together outside the car and swing it in with the engine and all that in there. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll come up with something. I will do something though. Just might not be today.